We hadn't gone there last year, and a nice place to watch a basketball game, and wasn't so nice for the Railers' outcome. Lanphier 79, Sacred Heart Griffin 53. Lanphier improves to 6-0 on the season, 2-0 in the conference. Griffin falls to 2-2, 1-1 in the Central State 9. Southeast Southeast to beat Springfield. Their record proves to 3-3. Springfield falls to 1-6 in the conference. And Coach, going over some of those scores, anything that jumps out to you? Looks like Lanphier is way ahead of anybody already.
Well, I believe so, and they're very talented. They're very quick. They play together exceptionally well, and they'll have a good test tonight. I think they play at Manual or in a shootout or something. Oh, I think over to the shootout at Champaign. Mm-hmm. So that'll be a good contest for them, and it wouldn't be surprised if Manual or Lanphier takes care of them.
Yeah, it seems like they've got it rolling, and the man that they've got rolling right now is Everett Clemens. He averaged 40 points last week, and he put up another 29 last night. So Lanphier has it rolling, and Coach, back to our game. It was a game where the Railers at points looked good, and we talked about this, and their points were we didn't look so good, and we thought coming into the season we could have times like that.
Well, no doubt. We're young. There's a lot of inexperienced kids on the floor, and I thought they fought hard last night. They didn't give up. We had a couple times where we got down 6 points, I believe, late in the game, and we just kept fighting, and it just wasn't meant to be last night.
Coach, a game last Thursday. It's kind of different for the Railers, not a game over the weekend. You had a couple more days off than usual. We got off to a slow start. Anything that might have come with that? I know it's early in the season, so we're not necessarily all used to playing on the weekends and nothing during the week, but anything coming off, and also coming off a loss to Normal West, where we probably should have won, and then coming in and didn't get off to a great start last night.
Well, defensively, the kids, we knew they were going to just set and shoot threes, and they hit them early, and kept them in the game and got confident. And the more confidence they gained, the better they got. And they're very well coached. John Angelo does a great job with them, and they're very disciplined. They attack. I think they're a program that under his direction will no doubt improve as time goes on.
Coach, we talked in the pregame last night before we had the game last, and we talked about Zach Grant on a job that he did last year against Jordan Nelson. He's probably one of the best athletes in our conference, maybe even the state, when you put his size, strength, speed together, and he did one of the better jobs on Jordan Nelson last year. They pretty much stuck him on Christian Van Hook and did another great job on Christian.
Well, you got to make sure you work him. You got to make him work to defend you, and there's times where, and it's youth, where we make it very easy to defend us, and if you're not cutting hard, you're not moving, and you're not doing the things, it makes it pretty easy on a defender. But he is a good defender. He started out on Max Cook last night, and they kind of moved him around to the player that gets the hot hand, and Christian got a quick start, and then he picked up second foul early, and we had to take him out this first half. So it really he is a good athlete, and he's only going to get better because he's only been on the basketball court a couple weeks. Yeah,
Coach, you make a good point there. I think he started out on Max, and then Pod got hot there in the second quarter, so they moved him to Pod, and then they brought it at the second half, kind of put him on Van Hook. Talk about I talked during the game that Max could learn a lot from a guy guarding him, being a sophomore. This guy is a senior. He's been in the weight room, obviously. I think he could learn a lot from last night on not only how to play against a strong defender, but what the weight room can really do, because you saw some of their guys last night were definitely well put together and showed some time in the weight room.
Well, no doubt, and I think over the course of time with our new facility that we have, hopefully that will improve our strength. This is the first year in a long time, since I've really been at Lincoln, that we've continued our weightlifting throughout, and we come in 2 days a week about 6:45 in the mornings, and we get our lifting done. So we're sticking with that, and we're hopefully that it'll pay dividends down the road.
Coach, early on in the first quarter, McMinn gets hot from three. He has two. I think Yek hits one from the outside, and the Railers just didn't seem quite to get out on him after that. We pretty much did a good job, and late in the first quarter, second quarter moves in, and the Railers start to get hot. We got Podbelsic. I thought it was his best quarter of the season. He got some open looks. He was able to knock him down. We got Van Hook, I think, for a layup and the dunk play that we seem to get every game. But finally, after I think the first quarter, the Railers started going in there in the second.
Oh yeah, we got some things rolling, and that might have been when Grant was on the bench.
Yeah, that helped.
that helped. He went off and took a breather, and but we got rolling a little bit there, and I think we finished the half. We done some good things last night, but we just didn't do enough many good things to survive.
We talked about, and I saw some stats from your stat man, Andy Fitzpatrick. Usually the Railers are 2-1 in the turnover to our turnover ratio, and right now, before the game last night, we were 74 for the opponent, 72 for the Railers, and it's something that you usually see out of the 1-2-2 there, where they're going to have 140 to the Railers 70. Is there anything that the Railers got to get better at on the defense?
Well, we'd like to force more turnovers, but we've got our team is small. We're not very big, and that allows teams to move the ball a little bit better. We can't cover as much area with the small group on the floor, but what we've got to do is eliminate our turnovers and try to get more possessions towards the basket. And if we can do that, that'll give us 6 or 8 more points a game. You take it our record right now, we're 2-5. We've lost the last 3 by 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. I felt like we've been in every basketball game. But just youth and inexperience has not got us over the hump. So we've got to make sure we keep just working at it and try to get to a point. And these guys, I hopefully will understand that by doing so, the time will it takes a full 32 minutes to do that. I thought we played maybe 24, 25 minutes last night. The other 6, we let things get away from us.
Yeah, Coach, and talking about moving kind of into the third quarter where the Railers' offense really got stagnant, was the new gym something that you were worried about? As I always remember riding on the bus, if I wasn't falling asleep on the way there, it was something that you looked at. You remember the gym, you remember how the seatings were, the baskets, and that kind of thing. Did the new gym throw us off, or we just maybe weren't hitting it, especially in the third?
Well, the newer gyms today are totally different. There's a different feeling in them, and the older gyms, I guess you've been in them more, and have the feel for them. But Chatham Glenwood is not a comfortable gym for us, so I kind of put Rochester in that situation to where it's a newer gym, it's a newer background, a newer. The sound is different in it and everything, and it's just a different feeling. So, but I felt good after the first half. I thought our kids played pretty well, and in the second half we come out and like you said, we got pretty stale in some points in the game.
Yeah, 4 of 8 from the three-point land in the first half, which you can't beat 50%, and I like the attempts about right at maybe where you'd like it too, as 8, 9, 10, somewhere around there. And then the Railers, as you said, get cold, especially in the third. The Railers in the second half shoot 5 of 18 total for the game, and that's when we just hit 1, and I think the 1 was on the last second shot by Van Hook. And in the third, the threes weren't going down. And what are some other ways that these guys have got to figure out a way to score?
Well, we've got to get to the basket. We got to get to the free throw line, and we found out some things last night. I think Jordan Gessner is one that we can get him into some situations to maybe drive and create some things. He's definitely the strongest player that we put on the floor, and when you're not as strong as your opponent, they seem to be able to use their muscle and be able to push you out a little bit without getting any calls. But Jordan can get some calls because he can fight back and push and shove and still be able to handle the ball, and we're hoping that we can use that a little bit. We still feel Christian should be able to get to the rim a little bit, but he's got to want to get there. And when he decides to do that, then he becomes a much better all-around player. So, we've got to just to keep attacking. We've got to try to get to the paint. We don't have a true post player in the middle that we can absolutely post up and look to get the ball into, and that's something that I think our younger groups has. Yeah,
you're exactly right, especially the sophomores. The sophomores were victorious last night pretty easily, And we saw a lot of size coming up for the sophomore team. Coach led last night by Will Podbelsic. He had 11 points. Christian Van Hook with 11 also, 9 from Jordan Gessner. Max Cook with 7, Jake Olson with 3, and that rounded out the scoring. 15 points in the second half, Coach. Something of a concern. Your defense has got to be really good, only scoring 15 to come out on top.
Well, I think both teams were very similar. It's a possession type. Both teams are very possession-oriented. Every possession is important, and they won the battle, and they were much more aggressive than us last night, and they come out on top.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Did you expect the man-to-man from? I know you talked about the 1-3-1 last Saturday that you may be anticipating them, and then they come out in the man. Was that something that you expected and got ready for also?
Well, we prepared a little bit. We spent more time on the 1-3-1. We've scouted them twice and saw that they 1-3-1 both games, and that was a concern of ours. But it wasn't a surprise. Coach Angelo, he seems to bounce around a little bit, but I don't know if he felt like he could match up a lot better with us on man-to-man, and they come out and they were very aggressive, and they executed the 1-3-1 very well in the times that we watched them play. But they're a very good man-to-man team.
Yeah, as you said, they're very strong, and as you said in the postgame last night, if they don't make it, they'll bull you underneath on the boards too. Coach, we're going to take a quick commercial break and be back with Coach Alexander and Doug Rutter from the Christian Village, the area's leader for senior living and healthcare services. Phone them 732-2189. We'll be back at 96.3 FM and WLCN online. We're back here at the Cheap Seats out at the Christian Village, the area's leader for senior living and healthcare services. Phone 732-2189 for a tour. Josh Komnick, Doug Rutter from the Christian Village, and head Railer coach Coach Alexander is with us here for the next 10 minutes or so before we get him out, and I'm sure he's going to go watch some basketball. I think, Coach, you got freshmen and sophomores playing today?
Freshmen and sophomores are playing this morning, and then, we're going to scout, I think, Springfield and Quincy tonight. So
got another day full of basketball, even though you're the day off. But, Coach, before we get into next week, we're at Jacksonville and then at home on Saturday against Taylorville. Now that the Central State 8 is now the Central State 9, you had the week off before this week. Was it something you understand? Talk a little bit about that, and did you I know you got to pick the first week. Was that something, when you set out in your mind when I hope I pick, like you're picking the lottery, I hope I pick these numbers, was this the number that you wanted to pick?
Not at all. I think you need a night off later on in January and February, and by having 9 teams in our league, each week one team has a bye, and you saw what it did to us last week with scheduling and everything, with the tournament, the wrestling tournament on Saturday. We couldn't play at home on Saturday, so we had to move that game to Thursday night. Now, next year, every 2 years it rotates, so we will not have the first week open next week, and I'm not sure whether we bounce to the last week or the second week. I'm not sure how the rotation goes, but I do know we don't have the first week off, which is, when you get started, you want to play and you're wanting to find out some things.
Right.
So, and then you want the kids to get into a routine, and like you said, playing on Thursday night was unusual for us. And I do believe Normal West plays some weeknight games in theirs because I think they alternate maybe Tuesday, Saturday with the girls and things like that. So they have some different schedule arrangements than what we have, and I think they were more adapt to the Thursday night game than we were.
So next year, or even after you said 2 years, after every 2 years, you'll redraw out of a hat for the week off?
No, they don't redraw. They draw to set it up the first
and then
time.
You just keep
and
going
then
from there.
It rotates 2 weeks, so everybody will rotate the same pattern that you go. I don't know if it's 1 day, 1 week, 2 weeks. I think the football might go 2. I don't know. I don't understand the scheduling, so whatever they throw at me, I go with it.
Well, and I think, too, nice being middle of the way is, injuries, or you can maybe just have a Friday night game during the middle of the regular season, which is always a stretch there, especially after Christmas, where it seems like the Railers or any team has every weekend, Friday, Saturday, you're playing. It might be nice during that middle of the stretch where you just have a Friday night game, and you can get some injuries healed up. Sickness always comes into play, and all those kinds of things.
Well, no doubt about that, and It's again, in the past when we had 8 teams, every Friday night you had a conference game and you played your non-conference on Saturday. Now then you have to play some conference games on Friday, Saturday night, and sometimes you even get stuck playing. We may even have a Southeast Land Fair in the same weekend, which is, it's pretty tough weekend, and it makes for, with the 9 teams, it's really messed the schedule up and everything. So, but you got to live with it, and everybody plays by it. It's not just one team. All teams have to, play back-to-back games, and sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Not every Friday, Saturday, or conference games. There's 4 or 5 weekends that fall into that category, but and we still have our 4 non-conference games by having the Meyer Classic, where we pick up and play 4 conference games there in that 1 week, and that allows us to play the non-conference schedule. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a non-conference schedule.
Right. Coach, last 2 games, you've got Normal West, a close loss again last night to Rochester, 42-41. 2 games that are going to hurt the seeding for Collinsville?
Oh, no doubt. I think they'll look at it and they'll see that, our games have been close. It's not that we've been blown out, but you're still 2-5. And by looking at the records of the teams, we were in the bottom 3 anyway. So we're going to be clear down at the bottom. How they'll seed us, I don't know. I got no idea. And those pairings come out Monday.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you. So they'll come out Monday, and where can the fans check that out, or is it online or in the paper?
Collinsville has a website, their tournament web. I can't give you the address of it, but
I think I might be able to have it.
They have a nice tournament. Their holiday tournament is pretty solid. It'll be on there. Now, whether it'll be posted that soon or not, I don't know, because we'll get a fax Monday morning. I don't know if they post it first or whatever, but we'll start looking tomorrow night. It may be posted even tomorrow evening.
As we get a little closer next week, Coach, at Jacksonville, which Jacksonville was a winner last night over who they played now.
They played Taylorville.
Taylorville, yes. An easy win as at Taylorville too. So Jacksonville was victorious last night. You travel to Jacksonville next Friday, and we've seen their size in the last couple years, and they've got those guys coming back. On the highlights last night, their coach's kid hit a 3. I mean, I just remember him from last year. They got a lot of returners, and not only returners, but returners with size and some ability.
No doubt, and they're 6'3", 6'4", 6'5" kids.
Yeah.
I think I've heard and maybe even read that Josh Peak, their best player,
saw that,
has a cracked vertebrae or something. Right. It's going to be out a while, and he's really a good player, and I'm sure basketball fans remember Andy Kaufman, but that's a nephew of Andy Kaufman, and he plays very similar to the way Andy did. But he's whether he'll be ready to play next week, I don't know. But they're still very, very solid. With they've got a good sophomore in Hintz in the middle at 6'5", 6'6". Keene, who is I don't know, he's really a good rated high on the football as a tight end, and he's big. He's about 6'4", and they've got a lot of size, and they can shoot the basketball, but their guards are nothing as strong as what Rochester presented last night, but they also Rochester went over there last week and got beat by 13, so it'll be a challenge for us.
Yeah, and a very tough place to play. But a neat place to play, but very tough. Always cold. I remember as soon as we got there, you start the showers. You just turn it on scalding hot, so the locker room gets hot. But that doesn't leak out into the gym, and that place is always freezing. I don't know if Rustio used to do it just to make you mad, but he did it, and it's not only, but again, a very unusual place for shooting. I don't remember that we ever shot the ball great there. It's just a different, more of an arena type atmosphere with a long, deep background where, of course, it's called the Bowl, and it's a difficult place to play, especially if it gets rowdy.
Yeah, and they'll have a good crowd. I think they're 5-6 and 2 or 3. They've had a very successful start, so I would think that they would have a very good crowd. So we need our help. We need our kids. They're still fighting. They're going to fight, and we'll keep plugging away. But we do have a tough schedule on Friday night and Saturday. I think Taylorville's improved.
Right.
They've got some younger kids coming along, and it's a matter of time before they start to show some improvement by winning some basketball games.
Yeah, as you said, Coach, you got Taylorville comes to town, and of course they lost last night to Jacksonville. And Coach, give us the dates real quick for that Collinsville tournament, when it's going to be going. And I know you usually block out some rooms for Railer fans if you want to go down. It's a great place. A lot of things to do, of course, around the St. Louis area. We enjoy going down there and bringing all the action to you. So give us those dates and, if you've got hotel information and all that kind of stuff.
Well, the dates is December 28th, 29th, and 30th. Like I said, the pairings will be out Monday for us on our game time on the 28th. We have information, and you can reserve rooms. We do have rooms blocked down there. But the information is on our website, railerbasketball.com, and if you go on there, you can click on the address, and it'll get you right to the Collinsville, to where you could deal with them. But it's at the DoubleTree. I think rooms are $76 a night for those 2 nights, and it's a very nice place. They done some work on it a couple years ago, and it's a very nice place to stay.
Yeah, we were there last year, and Coach, just some of the teams: Belleville, Altoff, Belleville East, Chatham Glenwood, Collinsville, Decatur Eisenhower, MacArthur, Dunlap, East St. Louis, Granite City, McClure North out of Missouri, Oakville out of Missouri, Plainfield South, Quincy, Southeast, and Urbana. So a couple schools from the Central State, 9, I'll keep saying 8, and then also I know Belleville, I think East. They're not there, I don't think, but they had that kid that was there. Oh, Belleville East, yeah, and they've got the young man, I think, that signed at Illinois.
Malcolm Hill.
Yeah, so there's not only some good teams, but a lot of individual talent also.
He's only a junior, so they're and they've got off to a slow start. They're 2-3, I believe. I don't know what they did last night, but they're 2-3. Collinsville was at 6-1 going into last night, and then you got Chatham Glenwood was the only undefeated team in the whole field. So it'll be interesting to see how the pairings come out. I think East St. Louis was like 6-1, so they dropped from 4A to 3A this year. So that's another team in the South that it'll be interesting to see where they send them for the regional.
Sure, Coach. Thanks for coming in again, and get back on the practice wagon Monday and get us ready for Jacksonville and Taylorville as always.
Well, hopefully we'll be ready to play, and we want to get better each day, so we've got to continue to push the kids, and they've been working to try to improve. But last night we've got to see what we have to do to get ourselves into situations to win games. So
but need a couple W's next week, not only for the record-wise, but I think for the confidence, especially headed into the Christmas tournament. So that's going to do it here, Coach. Again, thanks for coming in as always on Saturday. We're here at the Christian Village, the area's leader for senior living and healthcare services. Phone them at 732-2189 for a tour. You're in the cheap seats. Josh Komnick, WLCN 96.3 FM and WLCNonline.com.